Ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet, today I will be sharing with you the second half of my top 10 altcoin picks for 2020 and beyond. And if you missed my first video in this series outlining picks 1 through 5, I will link that up down below for you. If you're into cryptocurrency and you want to get more altcoin content like this though, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on using that little bell notification button so you get a heads up whenever I post new content. And just a hint, there might be a third part in this series because there's a lot of cool altcoins to talk about. Thanks in advance for that, and let's dive into that list. Now, this list is in no particular order, so don't get stressed out about my rankings. I am also not telling you to go dump a bunch of money into these coins. This is really just my opinion on projects that I think have some real potential to work with. Again, if you don't really believe in and deeply understand a project, I urge you not to spend even 1 cent on the tokens. Of course, this means none of this is financial advice and all that good stuff. Let's dive into this list now that all that jazz is out of the way. The first project on my list is one that's getting a particularly insane amount of hype these days, and that is Unibright. Now, Unibright is tackling a critically important but underserved niche in the blockchain world, and that is enterprise adoption. Unibright is a project that provides a set of easy-to-use tools to help enterprises adopt blockchain technology and create useful blockchain-based applications with little to no coding experience or technical know-how. Essentially, Unibright provides a set of user interface-based modules to help non-technical users create, deploy, and manage smart contracts on a blockchain. Furthermore, this same user interface-driven approach has been taken to the world of tokenization as well, providing a unique token creation wizard, if you will, that encapsulates Unibright's unique liquidity strategy that they call Frequity. So users and organizations abroad and here in the US can create and manage their own tokens from issuance all the way to exchange with this easy-to-use tool. Throughout all of these services, the Unibright UBT token is the fuel or utility that one can use for tokenization and liquidity, as well as to pay for usage of these smart contract application tools that we talked about just a second ago. Now, you may be wondering, why does this matter? And traditionally, enterprises have been paying hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars custom building blockchain solutions and smart contracts that really end up being obsolete before they're ready for production. And this is really because bureaucracy takes time, but also because of the shortage of talent that there is in the world to implement these types of applications. It's not cheap. Unibright is providing a much needed level of abstraction that allows non-technical and even inexperienced folks at an enterprise to help push the organization towards adoption of blockchain technology without spending a fortune or waiting for months and years. Furthermore, it lowers the cost of implementing these solutions for enterprises who are trying to just test the waters and see if it's for them. As a developer of decentralized applications myself, I think that this is a fantastic project with a keen understanding of what it needs to bring enterprises into the blockchain world unilaterally. If you're interested, I also did a deep dive on Unibright and an interview with the founders, which I will link down below as well. The second project on my list today is one that I think is addressing one of the biggest barriers to adoption for smart contract applications, and that project is Chainlink. Chainlink is a project that is seeking to solve the massive conundrum that is bringing trusted data feeds from off-chain or outside the blockchain into smart contracts, which are on the blockchain. Of course, the value proposition for smart contracts is that they remove third parties and decentralize logic. So you really defeat the purpose by using centralized data sources to feed conditional logic inside your smart contracts. Chainlink has developed a network ecosystem, if you will, that is live in mainnet now on the Ethereum network that allows for external data to be securely fed on demand from external sources into smart contracts on the blockchain. In the industry, these are known as oracles. To solve the distinct challenge of keeping data providers honest and incentivized to provide quality, on-time data, Chainlink has designed the native Link ERC20 token as a governance mechanism in the network. Essentially, when a smart contract requests some data from the external sources, a variety of data providers using Chainlink software will bid on the right to fulfill that data job by locking up Link tokens. If that data provider acts maliciously or doesn't provide the data, he or she loses the Link staked in that job or bid on that job. Conversely, data providers are incentivized to do the right thing to earn Link tokens in return for completing data jobs successfully. In essence, Chainlink is using economic incentive and disincentive to force good behavior on the network and disincentivize bad behavior. Furthermore, Chainlink allows for in-stream aggregation of data, meaning one can request data from multiple off-chain sources to be averaged or aggregated together to decentralize the final result. This helps with trustworthiness of data itself. But what really makes Chainlink unique is that they're not focused on one niche form of data services for smart contracts. They're building a framework for custom oracles across multiple blockchain networks that allows the possibilities for how Chainlink can be used to be completely endless. And with the priority being placed on integrating Chainlink with many of the interoperability-focused blockchain networks, Chainlink could soon be in more decentralized applications than we're even expecting. Of course, this is very general and there's much more to this model, but for the sake of time, let's move on to the next one. But if you do want to learn more about Chainlink, I did a full deep dive on it, which I will also link up down below, and I'll put in a YouTube card up here. Now, next on my list today is one that's really carried proof of stake into the mainstream, and that is Tezos. Now, Tezos overcame its fair share of drama and politics when it came into the fray, and many likely wondered if it would even survive all that turmoil in the first place. However, now it is clear that Tezos has more than recovered. It's one of the most avidly supported cryptocurrencies today. And what I think is particularly impressive about Tezos is that it was one of, if not the only, projects to bring the idea of staking cryptocurrency as part of network governance into the forefront of this industry. Tezos allows for direct staking of Tezos, as the network token is called, for individuals who want to participate directly in the validation of blocks and to be rewarded for that effort on-chain. This process is called baking in the Tezos world. However, one can also delegate their Tezos to someone else to bake in return for a share of the rewards earned for validating blocks. So think of these like pools in a way. The key difference here is that a user retains full control of his or her staked Tezos all the while, rather than having to give up custody of them to the delegate. This was the game changer because it meant that the barrier to entry for staking was low enough that users all over the world would start using it and staking on Tezos. It's even available now on Ledger Nano S hardware wallets and Coinbase, which makes it even easier for individuals to use it. However, the staking model is also used to facilitate network governance as well, which means that all network updates and upgrades are essentially voted upon using stake, or baking, then by way of a fork, which eliminates one of the really contentious and hotly debated topics, and that is risk of a chain split and risks of gory battles that often ensue when protocol updates start to get discussed. Now, all this being said, I think where Tezos earned its place in my top 10 list is in its approach to smart contracts and logic on the network, which I don't think gets enough attention. Having a strong, well-utilized proof-of-stake network that scales relatively well is great, but without a solid model for decentralized application development, you're cooked. Or baked, I guess, in Tezos' case. The Tezos smart contract language, though, Michelson, which is derived from OCaml, a popular functional language, has taken the lessons learned from Ethereum and improved in a lot of ways. Firstly, the code is formally verified and strongly typed, and in English, this means that the code behaves as it was intended and it conforms to a strict set of standards that makes it easier to write secure contracts. The key benefit here is that it will be easier to write secure and efficient code, and it will be compiled directly within Tezos' virtual machine, which might not mean a lot to most, but it cuts out an arduous step that is currently required in Ethereum's Solidity language. The long-term vision is what I'm attracted to for Tezos. It has the users, it has the participation in staking or baking. It just needs that next push to get dApp developers on board and building things and to get users using it. And that's what has me excited. Now, number 4 today is a project that is pushing hard to provide a robust solution for multi-blockchain interoperability. Rather, specifically to provide a means by which a multitude of blockchains can interact with one another securely. And that project is Icon. Now, Icon is one that many have soured on because they lost money on it during the 2017 hype cycle, which in my mind is down to bad luck and bad timing rather than the project's lack of quality. I think that Icon has a really interesting solution to some of the big overarching architectural challenges that this space has faced for a long time. First and foremost, not every public chain serves the needs of an enterprise or organization, and many wish to create their own network that's private or semi-private to serve their own needs. For example, a game company may want to have their blockchain serve their tokens for in-game items privately or only for their users. However, this shouldn't be a trade-off in that the new blockchain that they've created is completely siloed from the rest of the world and can't communicate with anything externally. Icon has designed a protocol that, at its core, allows users or organizations to create their own configurable, unique blockchain networks that fit their unique needs, whilst also remaining connected to all the other blockchain networks in the Icon ecosystem itself. Think of this like a bunch of smaller blockchain networks that are woven together into a single network layer by this sort of central Icon network. This gives you the best of both worlds in blockchain for enterprise especially, which is a place I think Icon will see a lot of success. So much so that Chainlink has started integrating with Icon already, as we talked about in Chainlink's section before. Across the network architecture, transaction fees, and communications between networks, all of that is paid for in the native ICX token, which is also used to facilitate the delegated proof-of-stake consensus model within the Icon ecosystem itself. However, this goes much deeper than just proof-of-stake and interoperable blockchain networks. Icon has built an entire token model to incentivize community participation in chain governance, block validation, expansion of the Icon ecosystem, dApp development grants, and more. This is the right approach because it starts at the core trend, that is, you want to get tokens in people's hands and you want to incentivize them to participate in the network. It really starts moving the network towards a true decentralized community. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention the fact that Icon has now made it possible to build native smart contracts on the network with Python, one of the hottest languages out there right now. And this is not only a fantastic idea, but it takes advantage of the core security, performance, and huge developer community that's inherently there in Python. Again, there's no way I can go into all the details this project deserves, but again, you can find a deeper dive down below in the description. I know I sound like a broken record. And last but not least, I have a project that I think does not get the attention that it deserves for its innovative sharding solution, and that is Zilliqa. If you've been in the crypto space for long, you've heard the common refrain about scalability issues within the blockchain networks, and you've heard everyone and their grandma, aunts, uncles, cousins, and whomever shill them a scalability solution found in a blockchain white paper. However, Zilliqa has built something that I believe has merit and value with their on-chain sharding mechanism. Essentially, Zilliqa combats the challenge of reaching consensus on one canonical blockchain or one straight chain with a plethora of 600 node shards. Essentially, each shard acts as an independent blockchain network where they reach consensus on a block of transactions on a certain cadence, and they report that out. However, in this case, each shard creates a block called a microblock, and it reports that up to a rotating consensus group of nodes who then take all the different shards' microblocks and collate them into one final block for the entire network. In this way, the brunt of the processing and overhead for consensus happens in smaller 600 node chunks participating on a random set of transactions rather than on one network at a time. Zilliqa was one of, if not the first blockchain network to really successfully ship a mainnet product with quality sharded consensus and scalability numbers to prove it. The reason that I believe that the project never really got the attention it deserved was that it was hard to get the token in the US and a lot of places, and there were no dApp functionalities early on to drive buzz and to drive users on the chain. However, that's now changed. In a sharding environment, it's been really challenging to build out a smart contract solution that's of any quality, because when the network itself is split up, you need a trusted, verifiable execution environment for that code to run in that's not inherently available when you have everything split up this way. However, with the Scilla smart contract language, Zilliqa broke the barrier and has now integrated the language into their own network. This enables powerful sharding networks to finally get real-world usage and adoption in terms of dApps. And I, for one, am working on learning Scilla myself, and I will be creating content to teach you how to use it as well. So stay tuned for that. Zilliqa is a really cool project, and I think that they really do deserve more attention than they've gotten, and they should get more attention in the years to come. Now folks, if you want to keep the altcoin party going, then I'll link up my other altcoin picks videos here for you to watch on the screen, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you'll get notified when there is inevitably a part 3 to this series, because I cannot fit my favorite altcoins into just 10 picks. So until next time, thanks for watching, cheers.